we are here to have a webinar on business analytics with R, right? So I understand that you are here to learn something about like what is R, what are its applications in the industry today, like how good is it compared to other products and all those things, right? So let's begin with that webinar, and I hope your expectations are met and you understand what R is all about. And I hope that you can understand, and whatever questions if you have, there is a question window below and you can just ping me those questions and I'll try to answer them. Okay. So am I audible to everyone? Like some people are saying that they cannot hear me. Maybe you can check your audio, Sudhir, because most of the people I'm audible. Right? Fine. So let's begin with this webinar. Correct. So business analytics with R, okay. So in that, if you look, the term consists of three things. It consists of business, it consists of analytics, and it consists of R. Okay. So what is the difference between all three of them, right? So business, as far as you know, right, what is business? It is basically something that you do. Basically, it's like a profit generating organization, or it may be a non-profit generating organization, but it is basically something that gives you money, something that gives you profit, something that gives you revenue, right? Then what is analytics? Analytics is basically studying of data. If you ask me, analytics is nothing but studying of data. And what kind of data? In our case, it is going to be business data, the data that drives your organization, data related to revenues, data related to your costs and everything, right? And then we come to the final thing, R. So if you ask me what is R, I'll say that R is a programming language, correct? But apart from being a programming language, it is a lot of other things also that we will look at today. It is not just a programming language, it is a part of a programming language, but apart from being a programming language, it can do several other things, okay, also, right? So let's move ahead. So why do you think that the need for business analytics with R has come off all of a sudden? Was this there earlier also, or is it like the bubble has just come in recent times, right? It was there earlier also, if you ask me, this requirement of business analytics. But the reason that why people are now going towards R is because of the boom of big data. Okay, if you know the term big data, right? You must have been hearing this term very frequently. Big data, big data. Lots of people talk about big data, right? So what exactly is big data? Correct. And that is the reason why R has come into the market. The reason that R has come into the market is your big data. So what do you understand by big data? Today, in the digital age, there is so much data that over the years we have accumulated so much data that it's very difficult to do some analysis on such kind of data. Like if you take example is that today 120 million people in the US own smartphones, okay? If you compare, this is like a growth of 30 million every year. So if you look 10 years back, not so many people who used to own smartphones, correct? Okay, and also if you look at Facebook, so today if you look at Facebook, so many users have joined Facebook. Like Facebook is there in each and every corner of the world. Like every person existing on earth almost has a Facebook account. Maybe there are people who don't have account, but there are most of the people who have a Facebook account, right? So this particular thing has led to huge amount of data available in the market today. So today so much data is available that the term big data has come into being. And that's the reason that business analytics is gaining more and more importance over the years. And along with that, business analytics, R is also gaining more importance over the year. The reason R is gaining so much importance is that R is open source. Okay, what do you understand by open source? R is freely available to anyone who wants to use it. Okay, but then if you say open source and freely available, the question comes about security. Then how do you handle security? If R is open source, anyone can go and hack it, anyone can look at it. Okay, right? So to handle that, there are also solutions available today in the market about security, how to handle security in R, how not to make your data available to public. And there are lots of things also available. But we will look today at the gist of it, like how it works and basically what all R can do. Fine. So as I told you, why is business analytics getting popular this day? First thing is that you have got lots and lots of data, which is big data. Second thing is that the cost of storing data today has gone down. Like if you compare computers of 10 years back to computers of today, right? If you went 10 years back to buy a computer, it was so costly. You also in the market you could hardly find a 2 GB RAM computer 10 years back. But today you go, you find that there are 8 GB RAM computers, there are 16 GB RAM computers, even there are 64 GB RAM computers, right? This was not possible 10 years back. Why? Because the cost of developing such kind of memory has gone down. The cost of RAM memory, if you ask me, has gone down so much in the years that if you know Murphy's law, it has followed Murphy's law. It has gone critically down over the years, and that's why cost of storing this data is very low nowadays. Correct. So that's the reason that business analytics is getting popular. So people, what they are doing, they are storing data now. Since they have got memory available, they go and storing data, right? Even in your case, you take your own example, right? You go and buy an external hard disk, correct? You download movies and you store them on external hard disk. You click your photographs and store them on external hard disk, right? Today there are external hard disks available up to 1 terabyte, correct? Why? Because they are so cheap. If you go to buy, it will cost you like how much? $150 to $200 a particular hard disk external one, right? It's not so costly. So that's why the cost of storing data is so low that everyone today stores data, and basically they store data because they want to use it in the future. That's the reason that they are storing, right? Even in your case, you store data. Why? Because you want to share your memories with someone in the future. You store your photographs, you store your videos, you store your documents, correct? That's the reason. Then the cost of processing this data has also gone down, correct? If you go 10 years back or 15 years back, 1.4 gigahertz quad processor was very costly, but now even smartphones have got 1.4 gigahertz quad processors, right? So that's why the cost of processing is also very low right nowadays. Is my voice breaking? Like someone has pinged me saying that my voice is breaking. Let me know if my voice is breaking. Okay, so Sunil, it might be problem from your side because the rest of the people can hear it properly. Fine, Sunil? Yeah. Right, so that's the reason that business analytics has become popular nowadays. The reason behind being three things. The three things are cost of storing data, the cost of processing data, and big data. Okay, so these are the three things why R has become popular and also business analytics has become popular. So this is the hard drive cost per gigabyte. That's what I told you in the previous slide, like how much it has gone down. If you look in 1980s, what was the cost? It was like almost $1 million, more than $1 million. But look at the cost today in 2010 and 2011. It's very low, right? So it's like basically it's gone so much down that you did not worry about the cost of storing it and processing it. Yeah. Now, if you look at this also, it talks about the cost of transistor. In 1992, as I told you, the cost of transistor, it was almost like $222. But now, right now in 2012, it's like almost $0.06. It's like almost negligible, right? The cost of transistor. So that's why the cost of processing data has gone tremendously down. And that's why you can basically use this data and do lots of processing on this kind of data. So let's come to the main question, business analytics. How do you define business analytics? So like if you look at this definition over here, what they have said is business analytics is nothing but study of business data using statistical techniques and programming for creating decision support and insights for achieving business goals. If you break down this definition, you'll see there are three main things in this. One is statistical techniques, one is programming, and one is decision support. Right? So if you ask me basically, if does statistical technique and programming go hand in hand for business analytics, I would say yes and no also. It's like you require some knowledge of statistical technique, right? And you also require some knowledge of programming, yes, right? But it's not that you require some very advanced knowledge of this too to become basically a good business analyst. What you require is a combination of both. You require a combination of little bit of statistics and a combination of little bit of programming, and where you can become a very good business analyst who can basically create a decision support system that will help you go inside the data, give you insights, and help you achieve the business goals. So that is what we will see, like how R will help you to do this. How R will give you a blend of statistical technique and programming for creating such decision support. So who creates this business analytics? Okay. So business analytics solutions are typically created by statisticians, okay, or basically people like us, right, who know programming also. So even if you don't know statistics and you know programming, you can learn statistics because, okay, in case of R, you don't require to know a lot of statistics, especially in business analytics domain. But if you know statistics, that is an added advantage. So people like us create this particular thing, right? So like someone asked me, right, one question that do we need to have an in-depth knowledge of statistics? No, you need not have an in-depth knowledge of statistics. Even if you have a basic knowledge, like say you know what is mean, you know what is median, you know what is standard deviation, it's enough. But as you go deeper and deeper into R, now you will on your own start learning statistics, okay? That's how it happens. I have seen people basically who have started with R who did not know statistics, but couple of years down the lane, they also knew statistics well. Why? Because when you start working in R, okay, when you write program, you yourself will see when your programs run, they do something. And when that program runs and does something, it's like a function. Let's take an example of a function. When you take a function and you execute a function, right, what does a function do? It takes some input and gives you a particular output, right? But you write the code for that function, correct? So when you write a code in R, let's say over the years, you yourself will see that when you are writing it, you are also understanding the part of it, right? And that understanding is nothing but understanding of the statistics part of it, right? So let's say over the years you write a program that basically calculates the different quantiles of a data set. Then you will start wondering what is quantiles, correct? Because before writing a program, you need to know what is quantile. So you will learn what is quantile. Then you will also write a program for it. So in that way, what has happened? You have also learned what is quantile. You have learned a statistical term, and you have also written a program for it, right? So slowly, your statistics knowledge will go on building up. So even if you have a basic statistical knowledge, it's fair enough. It's good enough to get started in R. You don't need to have in-depth statistical knowledge. In-depth statistical knowledge is only required if you are going in research domain, especially people who are in PhD, who are doing PhD and who want to go deep into mathematical side of it. They need to know the statistics for part of it. But you as business analyst, basic statistics is more than enough, correct? So who uses business analytics? If you ask me today, each and every organization uses business analytics, right? Almost all the organizations use business analytics. Why? Because they have got lots of data, right? What do they want to do with this data? They want to mine inside this data. They want to derive certain insights out of it, which will help them make decisions, correct? Like I'll give you an example of 2012 presidential election, right? So what happened in there, Obama's team, they also used lots and lots of data over the past years, and also they used the survey response from each and every person to predict like in which state Obama will win and which state Obama won't win. Also when they did this particular analysis, when they found that their actual result and compared with what they had predicted, it was almost 95% accurate, right? So they were able to target those states where Obama's popularity was low and they could improve it. In that way, they use business analytics to basically to drive their campaign. Even in the recently completed FIFA World Cup, are you aware that Germany, the team that won the World Cup, made a lot of use of a particular tool called HANA. Okay, HANA is a database that is developed by SAP recently into the market, but HANA supports R. Okay, so the team Germany, they made extensive use of this analytics on HANA, especially combined with R, to define their winning strategy. There is a video available today on YouTube that shows the different strategies that Germany used to basically to see like how the other teams are performing in comparison to them, like what they are doing wrong. Okay, and they did a lot of analysis, and that helped them win the World Cup actually. So that those things are really good things that you can do using R. So Puneet has asked me a question like, to start working on R, do we need to have basic concepts, knowledge of any database and SQL? No, Puneet, R is not a database language, so you don't write SQL statements here. But even if you have SQL knowledge, it is good enough, because in that case you can utilize it in learning R. So in R also you can write certain SQL statements and a lot of things. So it's not a prerequisite you need to know a database language or SQL, but having knowledge of that it makes it easy, because you know the basic fundamentals of programming, like how a pseudocode is written or how a program is written. That will help you. And especially if you know C, C++ and object-oriented programming, okay, then it's for further advantage to learn R. Why? Because R also has those similar concepts of inheritance and object-oriented programming, right? But SQL is not a prerequisite for that. So who uses R? So this these are some of the examples where R is used. Okay, it is used in telecom domain, it's used in pharmaceuticals, it's used in financial services, life sciences, education. Also, as I told you, it's being used in sports also. Like I told you, Team Germany, it used it quite oftenly. It is used in presidential campaign. So I'll give you an example. Like in telecom, we recently did a project for a telecom company in US. So how did they utilize business analytics is that this particular telecom company, it wanted to find out its churn rate. So what is a churn rate? So churn rate is something is that you leave a particular telecom company and go to a different service provider. Let's say I am with telecom operator A and I leave this telecom operator A and go to telecom operator B. So in our analysis, what did we do is that we developed a model basically that would help this particular company to predict the churn in the future. Like we took several attributes, several characteristics of different customers of that particular company. Like we took the attributes variables such as we took what is the age of that person who is with the company. We took an variable like what is the mobile handset is using. We took variables like what is his monthly billing, how much time he spends in the night, how much time he spends in the day, and all such things. And then we developed a model wherein we saw like based on historical data what kind of people are leaving the organization and what kind of people are not leaving the organization. Means that particular telecom operator. And based on that we created a churn prediction model like wherein in the future if I enter all these variables, it immediately tells me what is the probability of this person churning out and going to a different operator. And also we developed a model such that we find out what attribute is leading to this churn. So what happens that the telecom operator can go and target this particular person with a particular offer such that he will stay with this particular customer. Right? So that is how a churn prediction model works. It's being used in India also quite effectively by Vodafone. If you look at the advertisements of Vodafone on the television in India, you will see that they have defined offers particular to each and every customer. Like you can have your own offer. So how do these offers come into the market? This is based on their study of the historical data. They do a lot of analysis on a particular person's usage of the mobile phone, and based on that usage, they go and give him different offers. So that is where R also comes into use, and it's used quite a lot. It's used in pharmaceuticals especially. It's used a lot in basically finding different clusters of bacteria, right? How this particular cluster of bacteria reacts with another cluster of bacteria and all those things. In financial services, it's used extensively, especially in the insurance domain, to find out fraud. So it's used in fraud detection. Like if I buy an insurance policy, what is the likelihood that basically I will be a fraud? So it is used extensively there. It is used in life sciences in gene mapping. If you are from a life science background, you must be knowing what is gene mapping. It's being used there also. I'll give you an example of a recent competition that was held by Kaggle. If you know, there is a Kaggle website that holds a machine learning competition. So there was a competition on Higgs boson, basically to predict which particle is a Higgs boson particle. So if you know what's a Higgs boson particle, it's a God particle. So it was a physics competition. But in that competition, almost 50% of users used R. And almost the top 10% of users, out of those top 10% users, almost 70% people used R to basically build that model, right? So you see how R is becoming popular in different areas. So if you want to look at this particular competition, you can go to kaggle.com, kaggle.com. It just recently got completed and the results are published there. So you can have a check there. It is also used in education domain, like we are using it in Edureka. Right? So these are some of the companies that are using R. This is just not what you call a small snapshot of it. There are also more and more companies compared to this. You know, Facebook uses R a lot. You know, Google uses R a lot. Okay. So these are some of the companies that use R a lot, especially apart from Facebook, Google, and all this. So like ANZ Bank, it uses R for credit risk analysis. Google uses for economic activity that I told you. Mozilla too uses R. It uses R to basically visualize its web activity. So it says like how many people are using Firefox, how many people are using the extensions within the Firefox, and lots of things. So that is where R comes into picture. Any questions till now? If you have any questions, you can just ping me in the question window. So I've got several questions. So Sundar is asking you what's the difference between R and Hadoop. So the difference between R and Hadoop is that Hadoop is basically a tool to deep dive into big data, okay? And R is a tool basically that helps you to do statistical analysis on data and also helps you to do what we call something called as machine learning. So it's a tool that helps you do predictive analytics. It is a tool that helps you do business analytics, right? But Hadoop is a tool that basically helps you to explore big data in a different way. So that's the difference between R and Hadoop. Then someone has asked a question, what is the difference between SAS and R? So SAS is similar to R, except that SAS, it is a licensed product, okay? So to work in SAS, you basically need to purchase the license from the SAS community, okay? And also the support of SAS is basically available only to people who purchase the license. So SAS is similar to R, but again R has got far more advantages over SAS. That's what I was going to come to. I'll show you what are the advantages. Then from which language R is derived? Puneet has asked. R is derived from C. It was written in native C. Okay, but nowadays you can some people are modifying it to include C++ as well. Someone has asked what is the difference between Mahout and R. So I won't be able to answer that question, Sunil. The reason behind that is that I don't know what exactly Mahout does. So I won't be able to answer that question. Surinder has asked, data scientists use R. Yes, Surinder, data scientists use R a lot. Then someone has asked a question, Sunil has asked a question, can we use it with HDFS? Yes, you can definitely use it with HDFS. It is possible. So in Kaggle.com, the project name was that it recently got completed. Its name was Higgs-boson particle. Okay. Then Cube has asked me, is it the only tool is used in data science? No, so Cube Kumar, it is not the only tool used in data science. It is one of the most popular tools used in data science. There are other tools like Python. There are other tools like SAS. There are other tools like SPSS that are also being used. But this is the most popular tool. Then, yes, so Cube, you can just do data analysis with R without any other tool. Yes, you can do that. Then someone has asked me a question, what is machine learning? So machine learning is basically you train your computer based on past data. Okay, there are two types of machine learning. One is supervised and one is unsupervised. So machine learning is that you train your computer or a machine based on the past data to identify features. Okay, based on those features, you will predict what is the future outcome going to be. That is your machine learning. Right? You can run and train the models yourself. Yes, you can run R on your laptop and train it to basically do machine learning. So Sunil has answered that Mahout is used to do predictive analytics and machine learning on top of HDFS. Okay, Sunil, thanks for the information. But since I have not used Mahout, I can't comment on it. Right, so machine learning uses past data. Also, even if past data is not available, you do unsupervised learning, in which case you do clustering and all those things. But if you go into deep inside this, you will never come out of it. Surinder, right? So you can look at the various websites on Google what exactly machine learning is about. It's a vast topic, but R is quite frequently used in machine learning. And then Ankur has asked me which one is most stable, R or SAS? To answer that question, the stability of R is still getting improved over the years. It's not as stable as SAS. The reason SAS is stable is that it uses a client-server architecture. So R, since it runs the code on your machine, it depends a lot on the performance of your machine. If your machine is, let's say, has a 4 GB RAM, a code will execute within seconds on your machine. But that same code, if you go and execute on your friend's machine that has a 1 GB RAM, it will take more time. The reason is that R does not use a client-server technology. Although now lots of new tools in the market have come in wherein the client-server technology is possible for R, wherein the code gets executed on the server instead of your machine. Right now R is a standalone. Okay, so the server thing gets installed on your compiler, gets installed on your machine itself. So as soon as you execute a code in R, it gets executed executes on your machine. Right? What is the difference between R and Revolution R? So that's what I said. Revolution R develops products for that basically uses the client server technology. and R is a standalone programming language that you can install on your machine and use it. To use Revolution R products, you need to purchase them. They are basically paid products, right? So let's come back to this now. So like as I said, not I am saying, this is basically the chief economist at Google has said that the great beauty of R is that you can modify it to do all sort of things, which is very, very true. I can do each and everything in R that you can think possible. Why? Because R is open source and there are thousands of, not even thousands, there are millions of contributors today in the world that contribute to R. Okay, I will just give you a brief background of how R works. Okay, R works basically using libraries. What do people around the world do? Okay, they create libraries. So what are libraries is basically? Library, if you ask me, is nothing but a function. Okay, a predefined function that a person has created that you just need to install on your side and you can use it. So there are today on the CRAN thousands and thousands of libraries available where people have developed this library. Okay, and you can just use it. Let's say you have a unique requirement wherein you want to do a regression analysis. Okay, now you don't require a library for that in R, but I'm just taking an example, right? Now instead of writing a code to basically do regression analysis, you can just go and install a package that does the regression analysis and just pass parameters in that and it will do that for you. You need not write code for it. There is predefined code that someone has already written. Since it is open source, you use that code in your machine and just install it and run it, and it will work for you. That's it. That's why it said that you can modify it to do all sort of things. Also, the best part is that that code is basically not proprietary. You can take that code and give your own additions. Basically, you can modify that code, right? If you think you can improve that code, you can do that also. Right? That's why that's why it's very, very popular. It's become such a giant today that there are so many libraries available that anything is possible in R. Even if you think you can't do something in SAS and something in SPSS, if you go and try it in R, it will definitely work. Even if it does not work, you can go to Stack Overflow. Today, if you go to Stack Overflow, you will find that 70% of questions are related to R when it comes to predictive analytics compared to SAS and SPSS. So just visit Stack Overflow and you will find that there are millions of questions related to R on Stack Overflow today. Right? Then someone has again asked me a question, can we generate reports, dashboards out of R like front end? Srujan, to answer that, you cannot exactly do that, but R has got excellent graphics. You can't build dashboard like tools, BI tools help you build. Like let's say business objects helps you build dashboards, like MicroStrategy helps you build that dashboard. No, you can't build those kind of dashboards, but you can build certain kind of dashboards wherein you have graphical data and you can create dashboards out of that. You cannot build interactive dashboards that other tools allow you. Correct? And then someone has asked me a question. All data scientist job require either an MS in statistics, pure science, or a PhD. What's the scope of people who want to switch domains? To answer that question, Pranjal, nowadays people are quite flexible. What I have seen is that even if you don't have a background in statistics and PhD, and if you are familiar with the R language and you have worked on that, let's say for a year or a year and a half on your own, or let's say with a small firm, they are still willing to take you. I have seen that because I keep a trend basically on Indeed.com and Naukri.com to what is the job trending there related to R. And I see that nowadays they don't make it compulsory to have a PhD in statistics. They say that having a PhD in statistics will be useful, but it's not compulsory nowadays. Right? Then Ankur has asked me, can R be integrated with BI tools to show R result? Yes, very much, Ankur. Today, Oracle is integrated with R. Today, SAP is integrated with R. Now, Teradata has gone into R. Okay, all these tools have now gone and integrated themselves with R. So, if you want, you can basically call your R procedure from this tool. You can call it from SAP HANA. Basically, you can call it from Oracle and show the results in Oracle. And you can also do it in Teradata also. So, these things are now integrated to R. So, most of the BI tools nowadays are integrating themselves with R. Then currently, you mean if you know R and Python, you can be a data scientist. Do you need to know Hadoop as well? Surinder, that I won't make such a vague statement that if you know R and Python, you can be a data scientist. Knowing just R and Python won't make you a data scientist. Okay, you need to learn certain other things also. So to be a good data scientist, you need to know data. Okay. Even when it comes to R, I will tell you 70% of R programming is basically dependent on the kind of data you have. So unless and until you understand data, unless and until you have a very good background in understanding what is data and how you can basically make data simple, you cannot become a good data scientist. If you look at the word data scientist itself, it has got the word data. So data scientist, a good data scientist is a person who understands data. Okay, 70% of your work is understanding data, and R helps you understand data, yes, very much. But again, you need to be very good at that. So with practice, you become good at that. Like I have been practicing this since 2004. So I have become quite expert at that. Like I have been using R since college days. I started using R when version 1.4 was available in the market. So in my college projects, I used to use R. I had done a project in artificial neural network for which I use R. At that time, most of the people were using MATLAB. But since we did not have a license for MATLAB, I decided to explore R at that time. And I found it quite useful at that time. At that time, it was not too stable. Compared to MATLAB, it was very, very unstable, very, very limited. But still, since I didn't have MATLAB, I decided to explore R. And since then, I have been exploring R in all my projects. And I have kept a tab of it. And that's the reason how I got introduced to R. Because in one of my college projects way back in 2004, I had to basically do something in artificial neural network, and I didn't have MATLAB, right? So that's the reason. Then someone has asked, is R connected to descriptive, prescriptive analytics? See, R can do descriptive analytics and prescriptive analytics. It can do sentiment analytics. It can do text analytics. It can do a lot of things. Okay, so it is connected to everything that you can think in analytics domain. All right, fine. So let's move ahead now. So as I told you, R is open source and free. Then you have got lots of packages and multiple ways of doing the same thing. Then I told you that it stores the memory in RAM. It basically runs on your machine. The best part of R is this point. I like the most. R has the most advanced graphics. Okay, but to build those graphs, you require good programming skills. Right? That is true, because graphs are not built in R. If you want to build a graph, you don't have a GUI to build a graph. You have to write a code for doing that. But nowadays there are certain tools wherein GUI is available, but they are still in development phase. I mean, they are available, but they are in beta version. Okay, but R has got the most advanced graphics. Yes, it has got excellent graphs. If you ask me, you can do spatial analysis. You can do geospatial analysis in R. You can build a GPS in R. If you go to rblogger.com, there is one person who has done a small project who has built a GPS based out of R. Okay, so there are excellent graphics available and in R, and you can do a lot of graphical analysis in R. As I said, R has a GUI to help make learning easier. The GUI is like this that you see on my screen. This is called the R Studio. Okay, so this is a GUI basically. So now there are R Studio is available. Then Revolution Analytics has its own product. So GUI makes it much more easier to work with, right? Instead of working on console. So when R started, it was a console language similar to your command prompt. So you have a console like this in R. So I'll show you that console here. So this is the console. Okay, it's like a command prompt wherein you type your command. Let's say I want to assign a value to X. So you type a command like this. So this was a console. So this is still available, but nowadays people prefer Studio. So this is a Studio wherein you can create projects basically, and you can write your own codes and run them in the order you want and all those things. Right? So lots of products are coming into this. So Surendra is asking, what do you mean by default stores memory in RAM? So to answer your question, let's say I am running this particular statement. Okay, I am running this particular statement, read.table. Okay, so read.table, this particular statement, when it executes, see, I execute this statement. This particular statement utilizes my RAM. Okay, it is utilizing my RAM, and it created this particular data frame body. Okay, this particular data frame that you see over here, it's stored on my machine, on my RAM, on my local memory, temporary memory. There is no server available to store this. So that's why I said it all depends on your machine. So everything that you do in R, every data frame that you create or every algorithm that you write gets stored on your machine. So this particular thing got downloaded and it's now stored on my machine. So it is using my RAM. Okay, so some of you are asking how to install R. I will do that. Don't worry. Towards the end of this webinar, I will be giving the steps to install R. Fine. Don't worry about that. Then Surinder is asking, we cannot store big data in RAM. Is it? No. You cannot store big data in RAM. Very true. But for big data, there are different solutions available. Okay. So you don't do analysis of big data on your machine. Okay. You integrate your R with Hadoop, or you integrate your R with HANA, or you integrate your R with Oracle, and then do the analysis. In such cases, you don't do the analysis on your machine then. So Devendra is asking me, can you also run some R demo packages and show us? Definitely, Devendra, this is this will be done towards the end of the webinar. So at the end of the webinar, 15-20 minutes, I'll show you how to install R and how to basically work in R. Okay, so that will be there towards the end of the webinar. Fine, so let's go back to our PPT. So customization in command line, I showed you what command line is all about, and R can connect to many database and data types. As I told you that today most of the basically business intelligence tools and ERP tools in the market have R integrated with them. So what exactly is R, right? That question comes to your mind. So from what we discussed till now, you understood that R is a language that helps you do statistical analysis, right? That is one thing. Apart from that, it also allows you to do what? It allows you to do some business analysis. It is a programming language, correct? So these are the three things you understood. That R is a programming language. It allows you to do statistical analysis. It allows you to do machine learning and business analysis. But apart from that, R is a lot of other things also. So let's look at that. So R is a data analysis software. So that is what we saw. It is used by data scientists, statisticians, analysts, and lots of people. Okay, to do lots of data analysis. You can also do data mining in R. So nowadays people are using this R to do data mining also nowadays. So you can do lots of data mining in R. So data mining, if you ask me, it is a subset of your predictive analytics and analytics domain. So when you talk about analytics, data mining by default becomes part of it. So you need not specify it separately, right? So that's the reason that R's popularity over the years has increased substantially. Then R is a programming language. Yes, as I told you, R is a programming language. But as I said, that don't get intimidated by the term programming language. In the course of Edureka, all the concepts are taught to you starting from the very basic. So someone has asked me, what is data mining and how is it different from machine learning? So data mining is basically you deep dive into the data, okay, to find patterns within the data. That is different from machine learning in the sense that machine learning uses data to predict the outcome. Data mining does not do any analysis to predict the outcome of the future, while machine learning uses the data available to predict the outcome of the future. Data mining is basically diving into the data. A classic example is this. Let's say I have a lot of data and I go into that data. So when I go and dig deep inside the data, I find some clusters of data, right? So clustering is like data mining. I am finding some clusters in that data, right? But did I do any prediction? No. Now let's say I found out this cluster. Let's say in my data there are 5 different clusters available to me, correct? Using those clusters, let's say I decide in the future, if a person enters into this particular cluster, he will react like this. Then that is machine learning, wherein you are predicting a future outcome based on the data available. So that is the difference between data mining and machine learning. Data mining is deep diving inside the data to find some recognizable patterns within data. That is data mining. While machine learning is training your data to give outcomes that will help you make decisions in the future. So that's the basic difference between the two. Right? So again, coming back here, don't get intimidated by this programming language thing, okay? Although it's a programming language, okay, in the course of R, it's taught from the very beginning. So you shouldn't be like very scared to learn a programming language, that this is a programming language and I won't be able to do it. No, it's taught from the very beginning. Fine. So coming to the next part. Again, R, as you all know, it is used for statistical analysis. Yes. For statistician, it is very much useful because it contains a lot of built-in mechanism that help you do statistical analysis. It helps you to do normal distribution. It helps you to generate random normal numbers. It helps you to build a binomial distribution. It helps you to build a Poisson distribution. It helps you to do that easily, and that's why it's favorite with statisticians especially. So a lot of people who are into research have been using R quite frequently. Then again, R is open source software project. So if you go to this particular website, there is a website called CRAN. Okay, CRAN means Comprehensive R Network. So this is the website. Okay, wherein you can find all the details about R. So this is the Comprehensive R Archive Network. This is the place from where you can download and install R. So if you go to this website, you'll find the options to download and install R. So you see there are 3 options. So based on the operating system you are using, you can download the particular version of R. So this is the website wherein people have put everything that they related to R. So here if you go, you'll find all the packages that are available in R till date. Like packages mean pre-built libraries that people have developed over the years, and anyone can download and start using them. Right, so see this. It's a huge list. It's evolving over the years. So if you see this, it's a huge list. And apart from this, this is just the CRAN. Apart from this, the libraries are also available on several other websites as well, like GitHub and other websites. Right? So this is the place from where you can download R if you want to download. So you can just go to the main page, home page of this, and you can just click on download. Let's say you're on Windows, R for Windows. Click on that, and based on your machine configuration, whether you are on a 64-bit machine or a 32-bit machine, you decide which one you want to install. So once you go over here, click on this base. Okay, click on this base, and then you decide which R you want to install. Whether you are on Vista, then you might require a separate version. Then you decide which one you want, 64-bit or a 32-bit. Okay, so this is the place for you to install R. Fine. Then R is a community. Yes, there is a blogger community in R that helps basically where people blog about R, what all achievements they have done in R, like what all new things they do in R. So it's a community where people go and post their solutions if they learn something new. So this is the website which is called R Bloggers website, and there are lots of tutorials. If you're a beginner and you want to learn something, you can go to this website, and basically there are lots of free tutorials available here. So you can just type a particular term and you can start learning them. Okay, but most of the tutorials over here they are for people who know basics of R. Okay, so like if you are a beginner in R, so you might find something difficult, but still you can go and try it out. And if you want to learn how to install R packages and everything, you can just click on this article. See the top 9 articles of the week. If you see, the first one is installing R packages. So most of the people come here to learn how to install R packages. So this is a very good website if you want to get started. Fine. Now, as I told you earlier also, these are the job trends in R. If you look, the popularity of SAS is going down over the years. And one reason why the popularity of SAS has gone down over the years is that SAS is very costly. Okay, one license of SAS you buy, and it's like you have to pay quite a hefty amount for that. And again, to maintain it, you have to pay a huge amount every year because there is a contract you sign with them based on number of users and everything. So that's why SAS is very costly, and people are trying to avoid it nowadays. Why? Because R is free and you can integrate with your requirements and just use it the way you can want it. So if you look on the Indeed.com, this is the message board, and if you look at the popularity of jobs there, you see the popularity of R jobs has increased tremendously in 2014, while that of SAS has gone down considerably. And if you look at the statement given by the director at Pfizer, he has said that R has become really the second language for people coming out of grad school now, which is very true. In US, most of the schools where engineering is taught or where analytics is taught, they are using R because that is freely available on the net and they can do their projects in R. So universities like MIT uses R, your Sloan University uses R, Johns Hopkins University uses R. Okay, and they have also come up with online courses where they teach people R. Similar to Edureka where we teach R, they also have their own courses where they teach R. But those are for people who have already good knowledge in R. They are quite advanced courses. Right? Then usage comparison, if you see this, compared to different data tools. So SQL any day leads today in terms of querying, in terms of programming, but R has become number 2 now. And if you ask me over the years, as soon as the what you say SQL provisions within R become more and more available to people, R will bypass SQL. Today, the reason why SQL is leading because SQL is a database language, and R is not a database language. Okay, in R you cannot do very high-level database operations, like you cannot do commit to a database, like you cannot do rollback and all those things, which you can do in SQL. But R is slowly catching up to that. Today there are new libraries that allow you to do basically write select star from queries in R. You can also pass where clauses, you can write if statement. So those things are coming up in R. So R is becoming more and more flexible day by day. And in a couple of years, I'm sure it will bypass SQL also in terms of popularity. Right? And then comes Python. So Python is also similar to R, but the syntax differs. But if you know R, you can learn Python quite easily. Python is also easy to learn, similar to R. Right? Any questions you have, let me know. So this was taken again from Revolutionary Analytics blog. So if you look, these are the average salaries that people are paid today. For R, this is the average salary that was paid out in 2013. It was the highest compared to all the other languages. So you look here, if you look at this particular chart, if you look all about at the salaries, almost they fall in about the 1 lakh range. But if you look something here, all of the languages here, they are related to big data. If you look here, you will find Hadoop. If you look here, you will find Pig. If you look here, you will find Cassandra. If you look here, you will find R. No SQL, MapReduce. All this is related to big data, right? So if you are into big data domain now, I'm pretty much sure that you will be paid really, really well. So let's say you know Hadoop, and let's say you know MapReduce, and let's say you know R. You are a deadly combination, believe me, because not many people know all these three. It is very difficult for organizations to find people who have all these three skills, right? Even when I take interviews, I find it difficult because if some person is knowing R, he may not be knowing Hadoop. If someone knows Hadoop, he may not be knowing R. But now what has happened that different training platforms have come up, especially Edureka and Coursera and other training platforms, where people are getting trained on different technologies. So you can also run MapReduce, you can also run R, you can also run Hadoop. But I would say stick to one skill, okay, specialize in one skill. Although you must know basics about this, let's say you know basics of MapReduce and basics of Hadoop, specialize in R. Or let's say you specialize in MapReduce and know some basics of R and Hadoop, it will help you a lot, right? But stick to one learning language and make it your base. And then you can have a bit of knowledge of other technologies as well, and it will help you a lot. Believe me, it helps a lot. Because today when I go and recruit people, let's say I want a particular person, I ask him, does he know Hadoop? Then if he says he does not know Hadoop, it becomes very difficult for me. Because today the big data projects are such that they involve Hadoop, they involve Pig, they involve Hive, they involve MapReduce, right? They involve R also. So like if I find a particular person who can understand these terms, but even if he knows R very well and does not know Hadoop very well, but still understands it, I would recruit him. The reason is that he understands it and he will be able to work on that, right? So someone is asking me, is the combination Hadoop, R and MapReduce the best? I would say, in my opinion, it's the best, since the way I have seen that people who know all these three are quite in demand. But it's very difficult to find people who know all these three to the level of extent that we need. Okay, like we need people who have hands-on on all three. And it's very difficult to find those people right now because these three things are just evolved in the last couple of years. So not many people are hands-on with that. But yeah, it's a very good combination if you know. Then Surendra is asking, if you don't know Hadoop and just know R, can I get a job? Yes, you can get a job if you know just R also. Why? Because R is a specialization. And just knowing R also helps, because what happens that whenever you do a big data project, you have a team. Someone must be knowing Hadoop, someone must be knowing R, someone must be knowing MapReduce. So you work as a team. So in that team, your job will be to basically write R algorithm, your machine learning algorithm or something like that. Another person who is specialized in Hadoop will be doing Hadoop. But if you know Hadoop, then it helps. Why? Because it helps you to mitigate the risk and helps you to interact with the other team members and to solve the problems quite easily. Then Pramod is asking, are Hadoop and what is the other form that forms critical combination? So MapReduce is another combination, and Hive. Hive they have not mentioned, but MapReduce is another combination. Can a fresher learn R and get a job? A fresher can definitely learn R, and you can also get a job, but you'll have to basically put more effort into it because you're a fresher, right? Then is it better to learn Python first and then R? See, Santosh, it depends on your preference. Python is a language which has got less capabilities compared to R, especially when it comes to graphical capabilities. R is quite ahead compared to Python, right? So even if you learn Python and then come back to R, it won't make sense because in R you will have to start from base, especially when you go to graphical analysis in R and exploratory data analysis. So I would say start with R and then go to Python. Python will become easy. Okay, Python will become quite easy. Then someone, Puneet is asking, if someone loves R with Hadoop, is he expected to do some Hadoop administration work as well? In my opinion, no. Puneet, in the projects that we handle as an organization, we keep Hadoop administrators separate. We don't expect them to work on R, and we don't expect our people to go and interfere with Hadoop administrators' work. So Hadoop administration is completely different that the administrators handle. It's like a separate kind of work that only some specialized person is given. So Hadoop administrators even don't interfere in the people who are doing the MapReduce work or something else. Okay, their work is completely different. Fine. So this is the trend currently. This was the 2013 trend. Similar trend is also going on in 2014. But the R skill is attracting very, very good salaries. Even in our organization, when I take interviews, I also take interviews for some other third parties also. If you ask me if the average salary, it is quite high. The people that they demand the salary is quite high because they have got some knowledge which not everyone in the world has, right? Because very, very few people have a good knowledge of R. One reason I will tell you why R is so much high skill paying job is that R is quite difficult. Believe me, R is difficult. Okay, it's quite difficult. Unless and until you are dedicated to it and unless you are ready to put effort into it, it's very difficult to learn R. So basics of R you can grasp easily, but again you need to keep on practicing. R is such a language that let's say you today learn R, okay, you complete a 1 month course, 2 month course in R, and then you don't practice, forget it, you will forget R. R is such a language because R is a language that keeps evolving. It's an evolutionary language. So if you decide you want to enter into the field of R, then basically make sure that you stay in that field and don't go out of it. If you go out of it, you'll lose touch base out of it, and basically you'll have to start afresh. Right? Such kind of a language, and that's why it's quite high paying. Why? Because people who are in R are very few. Because what happens is that people, they learn R and then they forget it. Right? So don't do that mistake. If you are learning R, keep on practicing it. No, there is no certification for R. R is open source. Anyone who wants to learn can learn it. But there are several certificates given by universities, given by Edureka, and you have to pay for them basically. Like there is a Johns Hopkins University that offers a certificate course in data science, and they charge some $500 for it. And similarly, Edureka offers you a certificate in R, right? But you have to pay for their courses. So there are no free courses available that give you a certificate. So you can get a certificate by enrolling in such courses. Right? Then these are some of the companies that are developing R products. One is Revolution Analytics and one is R Studio. R Studio I already showed you. See, this is R Studio basically. This is freely available. Okay. While the products in the Revolution Analytics, they are paid. Okay. So if you want to use a product coming from Revolution Analytics, you have to shell out a license. Correct? So Surinder is saying that there is a free R course available on Coursera. Yes, that is a free R course available on Coursera, but then they don't give you a verified certificate. So if you want a verified certificate from Coursera, they charge you for it. And I have taken that Coursera course, and I will tell you that it is not for beginners. Okay, Coursera course is not for beginners. It's like the course is such a way that it's not instructor led. First of all, it's a recorded course, and it's like they expect that you know some basic knowledge of R. If you look at their assignments and everything, the pass rate on Coursera is very less. The people who get certificates are like almost 2% of the people who enroll there. Why? Because their assignments expect quite a good knowledge of R. That's the reason. Right. So these are the things that are available in R. So two products. One is developed by RStudio and one is developed by Revolution Analytics. So someone is asking me, is there any data site that I can get input data set to start with the right R program? Give us the answer also to help. So the website will be R bloggers, as I told you. And then if you want any help, Stack Overflow is there. And if you want data, there are several websites. So one of the most popular website is data.gov.uk. Okay, so I prefer this website. It's got lots of data sets. So you go to this website, you go to data request, okay, and here you will find lots of data. So you can basically download the data that you want from this particular thing. So you go to this data sets and you see this. There are lots of data available in different formats. So you can just download the data from there and work with it. Correct. So like just like data.gov.uk, you have data.gov.us. So each and every country has its own website wherein government data is available. So this government data you can use for your own analysis. And this is real data, okay, and really good data, believe me, to get started with. So even US has its own sites, even India has its own sites like data.gov.in. So every country has its own site. So if you want, you can go to the government site of your country and download the data from there. Right? So every country has its own site. Right? So this is the site from where you can get the data to get started. Then coming to our products, I already briefed you about like Oracle has created a version of R, okay, wherein you can call R into Oracle and basically run the R codes from Oracle. So R is bringing a lot of new technologies today, which is powered by R. Teradata, as I told you, has started using R. SAS also has now an interface wherein you can run R programs in SAS today. The reason behind that is that now today companies are in such a state that they already have SAS license, but moving forward they are building new projects in R. So they want an integration between SAS and R, and SAS complied with that. So SAS has created an integration between itself and R. So that is also available today. And I told you even SAP HANA basically uses R. Okay. Then this is the data visualization in R. This is one of the projects I was talking about. This is one of the projects you'll find on R Blogger, wherein a person has created a GPS completely out of R using Google Maps and R. So this is the map of Toronto. So here if you see in this particular map, he is trying to basically find a particular city, and that city is highlighted using this red color. So this is basically try to create a cluster out of it. Right. So that is there. Then this is the R interface that I was talking about. So this is a console. This is what you call a console. So whenever you download R, let's say you go to this CRAN website. Whenever you download R, download and install R, this is what gets installed on your machine. Okay. So this is the command line. Here you can give different commands. Let's say I want to create a variable called x and give value 5. So I'll just say x equal to 5. Or I can use that arrow that I showed you. So this is nothing but creating a variable, and if I want to display, I'll just say x, and it will display the value like this. So this is the console-based framework of R. Then you also have a GUI-based framework, which is nothing but RStudio. And if you want, you can also download RStudio from the website. It's available free of charge. Just type RStudio in Google, RStudio, and it will take you to the RStudio home. And you can easily download the RStudio from there. See this RStudio, basically you can download it from there. So here if you go, you can take the products, go to RStudio. and basically download the desktop version. For server version, you need to pay them. So if you want to use the server version, you need to pay them, but if you want desktop version, it's available free of cost. Fine. Right. So in RStudio, the advantages are that basically you can save all your work in a directory. Like you can create directories, different directories like this. Okay, and save all your work in a directory. And there are several advantages. So this will be taught in the Edureka course. If you enroll in that course, how to work with this particular RStudio. It's a very good tool to learn it. And especially if you're a beginner, I would say start with RStudio, because using console will be difficult for you, because you'll have to write lots of code here. While in RStudio, you can do a lot of things using this right-hand side windows. So Pramod is asking in what way server version is different from desktop version. So as I told you, Pramod, server version utilizes the client-server architecture. So you will have a RStudio client over here, okay? Then you will have a server which will be at a central location, and whenever you execute a code, it won't use your RAM. Okay, instead it will use the server's RAM or the configuration of your server. So it won't use your desktop RAM, or it won't utilize your desktop memory. It will go to the server and execute it on the server. So it uses the server parameters. So it's like a 3-tier architecture. It has a client, it has a server, and it has a middle layer that connects to the server. So that server can be on a different machine and client can be on a different machine. So you can have a Blade, high-end Blade server wherein you install R, and then you have 10 different clients. All these 10 different clients connect to that server. So in that way, the server version is different from the desktop version, and that's why the server version is paid. Clear? So let us look at some of the use cases of R. So this is one of the use cases. Let's say a retailer is interested to find an association between the products. Okay, what do you mean by association? Let's say I'll give you an example of Walmart in US and Hypercity in India. Now if you visit this retail stores, have you seen that the products are placed in a particular fashion? How do the store managers know where to place which product? Like if you go to a particular grocery section in the store, you will obviously find groceries. But apart from groceries, you will also see some odd products lying there. Like let's say in a grocery store in Hypercity that I visit, or a Walmart that I visit, if I go to grocery section, they also keep utensils over there. Now what has utensils got to do with grocery, right? You will question that why in grocery section utensils are there, right? So this is something called as association analysis. What do store managers do? They study the purchase patterns of each and every customer that comes to their store. They see if this person is buying grocery, he is also buying utensils. So they put all this data into a model and basically find out what are the associations between different products, like which product sells with which product. Correct? Like if you go to a store, you will see that most of the cold drinks and chips are placed side by side, because they know that if someone is going to buy chips, he is also going to buy cold drink. So that is called as association analysis. You know, one of the stores in US, I won't name that store, but this was a case that was published in one of the magazines. They did an association analysis on the products being sold in their store. They found out something that was quite shocking. What did they find out? You know, they found out that diapers are being sold, but the most associated product with that diaper was something that they had not imagined. Do you know what that product was that was associated with diaper? Using that thing, they changed the entire orientation of that store. There was a product that they didn't imagine it was even far away associated with diaper. Okay. It was beer, yes. So most of the people, I think, know this case. It was beer. So they found out that beer was highly associated with diaper, and this came out by doing association analysis. So R also helps you to do such kind of analysis. It's called association analysis, wherein you find a pattern within the data and try to cluster them into one different segment. Then this is something that I told you about. This is something that I did in one of my projects, that churn management. Churn today is major problem for any telecommunication company. Be it in India, be it in Europe, be it in US, be it in any country. Today churn management is one of the major problems. Why? Because today so many telecom operators are available that I can just quit my telecom operator and go to any other telecom operator that is giving me a better plan. Let's say today Airtel is giving me a better plan, I'll go to Airtel. Let's say Vodafone is giving me a better plan, I'll go to Vodafone. So what is happening today is that today the saturation level in telecom industry is such that each and every person who is capable of having a mobile has a mobile. Today newborn children won't be using mobile, right? So the age group 18 to 25, they already have a mobile, they already have a SIM connection, right? So new customer base for telecom companies is not that great. It will become great after 10-15 years when these newborns become adults, right? But most of the adults that are there today, they have a telephone. So the problem with telecom companies today is to retain their existing customer base. And to retain their existing customer base, they have to come up with new offers, right? So how do they generate this offers? So what do? They basically study the customer characteristics. They study the historical data of this particular customer. They see what this customer has been doing. Let's say this customer uses the phone very frequently in the night. Let's say this particular customer uses this phone to basically send SMS. He does not talk too much. So based on this kind of analysis, they then propose different plans to the customer that suit their budget also, and that makes them happy. So this kind of analysis also R is able to do, and believe me, there is a project already which is live in US where one of the leading networks has used R to basically to address that churn problem. Okay, so it's being used by a lot of telecom companies even in the European states, and there is a company in Japan also which has been using R to basically to do this kind of analysis. Then we have got this particular thing, Obama, which I already told you about. Yes, we can speech. Okay. So what did these people do? They took this particular speech and they created a word cloud out of this. And they found out that wherever Obama had used yes, we can, in that state, the probability of Obama winning the presidential election was quite high. Okay. Then Surinder is asking, can we use Hadoop to do churn analysis as well? Surinder, to some extent, the answer is yes, you can do it. Okay, but to some extent, the answer is no also, because you cannot do extensive churn prediction in Hadoop. In Hadoop, you can do analysis to find out patterns in data that will help you basically to build a model to do analysis of churn. But if I want to predict future churn, then Hadoop won't help me. I need to integrate Hadoop with R. Then Vivek is saying in Sweden there is a lot of usage of R. That is very true, Vivek. In Sweden there is a lot of usage of R. In fact, Sweden has its own package wherein they have got government data available. And in Sweden, a hackathon happens every year, wherein they call different R people from around the world, also in Sweden, and they organize a R hackathon, wherein they share their learnings in R, wherein they share what they learned, develop new in R. They basically create different programs. They compete within themselves, and it's quite yes, very true. It's quite famous in Sweden, and it's become popular it's becoming popular also in other European countries as well. The reason being that it's quite extensively used in colleges in Europe and also in US nowadays, and that's why it's become quite popular there. Then Pramod has asked a question, in use case to telecom, did you develop this project only with R, and how long did it take to complete this project? To answer your question, this project was not developed using only R. It was a combination of SAP HANA and R. Okay. So we used SAP HANA, and on top of that we used R. So it was a combination of both of this, and it took almost 8 months to complete this project. The first cycle. So this project has got various cycles. So the first cycle took almost 8 months to complete. Okay. So does that answer your question, Pramod? Right, now coming to this Obama speech, so they created a word cloud out of this, as I was saying, and they found that wherever he had used this yes we can speech, in those states his probability to win the election was quite high. So that's the thing. Any doubts you all have? If you don't have any doubts, then I'll show you a demo of R, like how to use R and how to do some basic data analysis in R. if you have any question related to this PPT, just let me know, and then I'll show you a demo like how to do basic program in R. So Sandeep has asked a question: by learning R, does it help project manager to get job in R? What is expectation from PM in R projects? If you ask me this question, Sandeep, in big data projects, there are no project managers as such. It's a technology-driven project, right? So most of the people who are in big data projects, they are using, it's driven by people who know technology in and out, okay? So the project manager himself is a person who is from technology background, and he also knows like what is Hadoop, what is HANA, what is R, and all those things. So he's not just a project manager; he's a technical project manager, right? So if you are saying that you learn R and you become a project manager and you can dictate people to do it, that's fine. To some extent, you can do that. But if you don't have any knowledge of R, anyone can fool you. Believe me, R is a language where people can do a lot of hacking, okay? Because if you have heard about the book called on statistics, Freakonomics, right? You might have read Freakonomics, and there is another book like all statistics are damn lies. So using R, you can basically build such models that it is a totally fraud model, but although it looks good. So if you don't know R, anyone can fool you, believe me, if you are managing a project on R. So good books for R, yeah, that is a very good question. So if you want to get started on R, there is a very, very good book to get started on R, and that book is called R Cookbook. Okay. So that book is called R Cookbook. It's available free over the net, or you can purchase the printed copy, but the digital version is available free over the net. So this is the R Cookbook. It's a really, really good book. So if you want to purchase the hard copy, you can go on Amazon and purchase the hard copy. And if you want the e-copy, you can download it from websites like this. So it's an excellent book to get started with R. Okay. Then Puneet is asking, do Edureka provide a complete educational certification like data analyst, R plus Hadoop plus some other tool? I am not sure about that because I don't look at the other parts of this thing. You can mail this question to the support team and maybe they will answer you about that. Okay. Then someone has asked a question, Parameshwari, he's asked a question, when to use logistic regression. Okay, so when do you use logistic regression? So logistic regression is a problem of basically classification. So let's say I want to predict like I'll give you an example where we use logistic regression. There was a forum competition going in Kaggle. Okay, if you go to this Kaggle, the site I was talking about. So this is a Kaggle site, okay. So if you go to the competitions, so these are paid competitions, okay. So the one competition that I was talking about was this one, wherein people used R quite a lot. It just got over recently. This is the competition, Higgs-Boson Machine Learning Challenge. It was basically to predict what kind of machine particle will be a God particle or not. It was a really excellent project. I had also participated, but there are people who are really good, far better compared to me here. And like I ended up being in the middle of the entire team over here. So see this thing. So I was like at the 643rd rank. So people who are from physics background cracked this competition. So I also used R to get this particular rank, right? And then I also used R to coming to logistic regression question. I used R logistic regression in the Titanic learning problem. So let's say I want to predict who will survive if Titanic incident happens again. So based on the past data of Titanic, like people who survived or not, we developed an algorithm using logistic regression and other machine learning algorithm to predict like in future who will survive and who will not survive, right? So this competition, learning competition is still open and you can enroll yourself in this competition. And there are also tutorials available in R for that. If you want to learn, if you are curious to learn. So this is a knowledge competition. There are no prizes for this, but it's a good way to get started. So this is where logistic regression is used. So logistic regression is a type of regression that helps you do classification. Correct? I hope that answers your question. Then someone has asked like what is the difference between RStudio and Krenar project version. So RStudio is a GUI thing and the Krenar project version is the console. So you look at this console is the Krenar project, okay. RStudio is part of Krenar project only, it runs R, but it has got a GUI, its own GUI, okay. It has its own GUI. So the Krenar project gives you the basic console, it does not give you any GUI. So you have to write commands over here, while in RStudio, you have got an entire GUI over here. Then Prashant has asked, then Surinder has asked, can we write a Hello World R program? It's very simple to write a Hello World R program. You just need to assign a variable there. See this? I'll just show you that. So you go to your R console that you have got. Okay, just take any variable var one and just assign to it the string called Hello World. Okay, and after that just print a variable var one. See this? It will print Hello World. So it's not meant for Hello World, okay, this particular thing. So someone has asked, where are the tutorials for Titanic in Kaggle? Please, you go to the Titanic's, you go to the Kaggle site, okay. You register for that thing. Right. So there are quite a good prospects, especially because I was also an MBA and I knew R when I started my job. So I started with one of the big four consulting firms way back in 2006, and at that time also I knew R. So it helps, basically it helps you in your placements. It helps a lot. So someone is asking me for the URL for Kaggle.com, so I am typing the URL for Kaggle.com. You need to first register yourself on that website. Okay, so there are quite a few practice competitions that you can take part in, and once you are good at it, you can take part in the paid competitions, wherein if you win, you can get lots of money. Okay, there was a famous competition over here, which was the World Heritage Prize, which was like $250 lakh, $250,000 lakh. There was that. Then there was a Netflix challenge. If you Google in R, okay, there was a Netflix challenge that was $10 million. Okay, so there was a Netflix challenge also a couple of years back, wherein Netflix had hired people to write machine learning algorithms, okay, to improve their sales. So you can Google that also in there, right? Fine. So let me just show you one small demo in R. So I will show you one small demo in RStudio, like what all you can do and what all is possible in RStudio. So someone has asked me a question again, what is a good book for basic knowledge for stats? So that is also a good question. The basic starting book for any person to get started in statistics, it's a really good book. It's called Introduction to Statistics in R. Okay, this is also available free of cost. And if you want to buy hard copy, Introduction to Statistical Learning, this one. So this is the book I am talking about. It's quite costly, the hard copy, but it's available free. Ebook is available freely. So this is an excellent book. If you look at the reviews on Amazon.com, they are really good. So this is quite a really good book for statistical beginners. Here is 35 reviews, all are 5-star reviews here. So this is a very, 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 very good book for a person who wants to begin learning statistics, and that too in R. So you can download this book from the author's website. So these authors, they are like masters of statistics, and they have their own website from where you can download it. So this is the website. So you can download this book from here, which is available free of cost, and you can get yourself working with this book. So these are the 4 authors of this book. and they teach at this particular university. Okay, so they have also given you all the codes that they have used in this book. So you can download the codes, you can download the data sets and everything that are used in this book from here. Right? So this is a really good book for statistical, who wants to learn statistics and R both. Fine. So let's come to our demo here. So I'll open a file. So let's say I've got a data set which is iris. Okay. So you must be knowing there is a famous data set called iris data set. So that contains a taxonomy of the flowers. So this data set is available and inbuilt in R. So if I just show you like how this data set looks like. So see, this is the data set. So basically it's a taxonomy data set for botany students. So it classifies the flowers based on its length of the sepal and width of the sepal and petal into different species. So it's a 150, it has got 150 such specimens and they are classified into different species. Okay. Now let's say I want to see what is the relationship between all this. So I can just write a command in R to do a plot of that. I'll just say plot iris and see it immediately gives me a plot that gives me the relationship between all of them. So if I see here, there is a relationship between sepal length and petal length. See, the relationship is quite linear. If you look over here. So I can build quick graphs using R. Similarly, if I look over here, the petal width and petal length, also the relationship is quite linear. See here? Right? But if I look at sepal length and sepal width, there is a skewness in the relationship. So I can do quick plots basically, and just in one single line, I can find out lots of things by looking at this particular plot. Right? I can also modify the plots. I can basically change the colors. I can do a lot of things here. So I can, let's say I want to just plot the length of the particular iris database. I want to plot the length of the sepal. So I'll just execute this command here. And you see this, it goes and plots that particular length of the sepal. This thing. So Surendra is asking what is the linear relationship. So linear relationship is like, let's say I've got two variables x and y. If x increases, y also increases in that same direction or either decreases in the same direction. So it's called a linear relationship. Effect on x has a corresponding effect on y. Okay, and that effect is linear. Like if I modify x by 1 unit, my y changes by 2 units. So equation like x plus 2y is equal to 30, that is called a linear equation. Right? You learnt in your math school what is a linear equation. Similarly, that linear equation is a linear relationship. If I change the particular value of x, then y changes. That is what we call a linear relationship. Yeah. So I can plot different kinds of data sets over here. Okay. Now let's say I want to plot different data sets on one particular screen only, and with different colors. So I can do that, things like that also. So I will take a data set over here. Do this. And I'll plot a histogram, let's say. So my margins are too large. I will clear this. I have changed some things, I'll just restart this. Okay. Now let's say I want to plot a histogram of a particular data set. So I'll just execute a statement like this. I will take that data set, load it into R, and I can just write a statement and plot a histogram out of that. See this? Like this. Also, let's say I want to do some spatial analysis like I told you about. Remember? So what I'll do, I have a library for that. I load that library inside. Someone has pre-written it. I will download the India map for that. And then what I'll do, I'll plot the different altitudes of India. So if you see this graph right now, that will appear right now. It will plot the different altitudes of India. See this? It is telling me like which regions in India are at very high altitudes, which regions in India are at low altitudes, which regions in India are at different altitudes. So if you look here, green color 600, this is at a very high altitude. So this is your J&K region. If you look at the Assam, Sikkim region, they are also at very high altitudes, right? So such kind of spatial analysis also you can do in R. Similarly, you can make your own GPS that I told you about. That is available in the R blogger site. You can go to that and try to plot that thing. That also is possible. Can Excel data be analyzed through R, and is there a way to have input-output between Excel and R again? Very much. Very much. Yes, that is very much possible. I'll show you that. Let's say I've got an Excel file over here. I'll open one of my existing projects that I teach for Edureka. So this is one of my existing projects that I use for Edureka. And let's say I've got this particular CSV file. All transactions CSV file. This is basically a small CSV file just used for your learning purpose. It contains the credit card transactions. Let's say I want to read this in R. So what I do, I have a statement called read.csv. So I just say, credit card underscore transactions, TRANS, and I say read.csv, and I just read that, give the name of that file, all underscore transactions dot csv. I execute this thing. Okay, now if you see this credit card transactions are loaded in R. And I can do further analysis on this. Let's say I want to find out what are the mean number of number of transactions. So what will I do? I will just say mean. I will take the data set cc underscore transaction, and I'll say I'll pass the column for which I want the mean, and I'll say NUM TRANS. Right? See this? It gives me the mean. So I know my mean number of transactions are 14. So you can do very well your analysis of your data from Excel into R. These graphs are just in a cache, or they can be saved somewhere for future analysis. You can save those graphs. So coming back to that graph, you see this plot. So you see this option or button of export. You just click on option. You can save it as a PDF or a plot. Let's say I want to save it as a PDF. So I give the name of the directory where I want to save. I say rplot1 and I say save. So it has saved in my default directory. If I go here, see this PDF. So it will now open in PDF. So sorry, it was rplot1, not rplot. So rplot1. See this? It's in a PDF now. So I can save it. You can save it as a JPEG image. You can save it as a bitmap image. You can save it as a PNG or a PDF. So these are the 4 options available for saving this. Right, so you can read data from a CSV into R. You can read data from a website also into R. So that's what I was going to show you now. So let me open another file here. Let's say I've got a just a second, I'll open that file and show you how to load data from websites also. Okay, so here what I have done is basically I'm trying to load the data from a Cricinfo website. So if you are a fan of cricket, you know that Cricinfo has got a lot of statistics, correct? So let's say this is the URL. Okay, let's say this is the URL which gives me the batting records across all domains. So I will show you what this URL consists of. So this is like a live analysis that I'm doing. This is what companies like Amazon.com do and OLX.in they do. So they also have data scientists which help them do such kind of analysis, which is a real-time analysis. So let's say this is the information on Cricinfo. So what is this telling me? This is basically the batting records in test matches. like how many people have scored, how many runs, and what are their what is their average, what is their highest score, and everything. Let's say I want this data to do my analysis and I want this data in R. Correct. So I can directly download this data from the Cricinfo website. So what I do, I create a URL for that. So this is my URL. Okay. So I take this URL and I save it inside a URL parameter. Right. Then I load a specific library. Library is nothing but a package created by someone that will help me to basically run this particular thing to connect to the internet. Right. So now I will use a function within this library saying get URL and store it inside this temp. Now what has happened is that this URL data is stored inside this temp variable. So temp variables contains everything. So if you look at this temp variable, let's say I want to view this temp variable, what is contained. So if I look at this temp variable, it contains HTML code. See this? So it has got the HTML code of that particular URL. See here? Right. Now how do I basically derive information out of this? So there are several functions available which you will learn in your course. So what I'll do, I'll first of all parse this into a table format and I'll read the necessary tables over there. Read HTML table. I'll have to load the specific library. So I'll load the library XML. Now this will help me to read the tables within this data. So I've read that table. Now from that table I want the overall figures table. Table 2, right? So if you see this, I've created a table 2 and this table 2 is now in R. And if I go and look here, see this? It's exactly the same that you saw on Cricinfo. This one. Right, so now I've got it in R. By doing what? Only 3 steps. Right, within 2 minutes this entire table was available for me in R. So someone is asking me how they enter data into Cricinfo website. So I'm not aware about that, how they do that, because I don't own that website. But if you want to ask me basically how I download data from there, I can show you that. That's what I showed you. So any website existing, you can download data. You can download data from any website, right? But for that, you need to know a little bit of HTML and a little bit of packages is over here. Then someone is asking raster library stored in hard drive or RAM. Raster library stored on your hard drive. Okay, but unless and until you load it. So let's say you see this command that I put over here. This command library, this loads the library into my RAM. Okay, so until and unless I don't use this command, it gets stored on the hard drive. Once I use library arcl, this particular thing gets loaded into my memory. So it's stored on the hard drive unless and until I load it. So this command is used to load the library. Clear? So this is something that you can do. You can download data from a website. You can create plots out of that. Right? Then let's say I want to create a plot out of that. Overall figures. So I'll execute this statement. So these are just basically what you are looking at are R syntax, different syntax of R. So table 2, right? So this is my table 2, which is cleaned up now. Look here, what I have done, I have only picked up the top 10 players over here. And what did I do? I basically removed those star marks that were coming in the not out scores. You'll remember this 248, the star was coming, I removed all those things. So I did some basic manipulation with the data. So Pramod is asking, can you please give a pointer to any documentation for API libraries? So Pramod, there is no specific documentation as such available for API libraries. Anything that you want, you need to go to the CRAN website. And if you want to learn more about the particular library, what you do, let's say you found out a library called arcl. So if you want to know more about that, you just say !arcl. Okay. So you specify double question mark if it doesn't work. You need to open the documentation for that on the internet for you. So it will go to the browser, see this on the right hand side in RStudio, it opens up the documentation for that. So you click on that any particular link, and it will show you the details about that particular library. So there is no such data that exists there. Then someone is asking, how can we do predictive analysis with Cricinfo? So what you can do, predictive analysis, I'll give you a scenario wherein you can take the scores of, this thing was done by Predictive. So Predictive did it last time in IPL 6. So they predicted to a very good accuracy like which team will win in which particular situation in the IPL 6. They have done a pretty good job. If you visit the Predictive website, you will find it there. So what you can do, you can use the past scores. Let's say you want to predict that in the coming IPL, which team will perform better and which player will do well. So you can take the past history of that particular player or that particular team and build a model around it and predict like what his score will be. So that may help you win the fantasy league, right? ESPN Cricinfo organizes a fantasy league and things like that. It may help you win the fantasy leagues and all those kind of competitions. So you can build your own models using R, and basically it will help you win this competition, right? It will give you a good range of a range of a good area wherein it will say that okay, this particular player will score 100 with this much probability. So if you know the probability is quite high, you can go and bet on that player. So you can build such kind of analytics based on that data. Similarly, you can go to Yahoo Finance and download the finance data. Then you can download the CSV also directly if it is available on a particular website. Let's say I'll show you an example of that also. Okay, now if you see this particular thing, this is a website where a text file is stored. Okay, this is American statistical website, and I want to read the stat file directly without downloading it. So I can do that also. So if you go to this particular website, I just use a command called read table, and it will go to this website and read it and put it inside the body variable. See this? Now it's read, and if I go to here, I can see this particular data set in R. See this? That's what I was showing you earlier. So I can go to any website and download the data I want and store it in the way I want. So finance data you can download from Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance has got a good website where you can download the stock codes, daily stock codes and everything. So that is a good website to download finance data, Yahoo Finance. Fine. So any other questions you have? So Pramod is asking, do you have a demo for unstructured data? I do have a demo for unstructured data. Let me quickly show you that. So I'll show you a demo for unstructured data. I'll close all these files. Okay, now see this, there is a file called victim.txt. Okay, this file is basically Titanic survivors file. Okay, so this here the data is not structured at all. If I look at victims now, see this. See, this is the data which is unstructured. It's a text file, completely text file, wherein I've got different different rows, and each row contains a text. So this is a text. So here the data is totally unstructured, right? My name is coming, my year of birth, year of death, everything is coming in one row, right? There is no structure at all. Also the comments are appearing in everything. So what we have done, this is taught in class 3 for you. We have written this code to basically give a structure around it. Okay, so if I do this, if I execute this code, right, now I've got a structure around it. Now if I see this final thing, see this, I've converted that unstructured data into a structured format. So you learn about that also, basically how to do that. So Sri Rayala is asking how to download files from website that need login to access the file. In that case, you have to use HTTPS connection. Okay, so there is a library for that, RCL, that allows you to use HTTPS connection. So if you look at the documentation of RCL, it will show you how to do that. Or another option is that what you do, You go to that website and basically pass your login credentials and then download the file. Or you can use the HTTPS connection for that. Then Surinder is asking, how do we do machine learning with Cricinfo? As I gave you an example, right? Machine learning is basically predicting the future. So example was the IPL 7 thing. You can basically go and predict like which team will perform better in IPL 7 or which player will do well in IPL 7 or IPL 8, whichever IPL is going on. Right? You can do all those things. Then Shri is asking how to assess Hadoop HDFS files. So for assessing Hadoop HDFS files, there is another library. So like this, in this particular code, I'll show you. Let's say I wanted to assess a different file from SPSS or SAS. Then I have to load this particular library for that. So I don't have that library with me, but there is a library to assess the Hadoop files. So Vinayak is asking like, can you give us a demo of word cloud in R? So I can give you a demo of word cloud in R, that is fine. But what exactly do you want? Like I can show you like how sentiment analysis can be done in R. I can show you like how a word cloud can be built in R. So for that, what I've done, I've put a blog entry. Okay, I'll show you my blog entry for that. You can visit that blog entry and it has got all the codes there. So I'll show you my blog entry there, wherein I've built a word cloud and I've built the sentiment analysis thing. So this is the thing here. So if you go here, what I've done here is, this was a small project that I've done. I had taken Twitter data and basically used HANA and SAP to do sentiment analysis. And based on that sentiment analysis, I also built a word cloud around it. So if you see here, this is the word cloud. So all this was done using R code. Okay. So the code also I've given there. If you want, you can take the code as it is. So down, if you go down over here, I've given the code also there. So you can take that code and basically it will create a word cloud. See this? This is the code. Right? So basically you require specific libraries to do all those things. So if I do that all those things, it will take a lot of time. Why? Because I need to load the libraries, I need to basically run each and every library and then do it. So you can, R is totally driven by library. So how you take data from Twitter or Facebook? So you take data from Twitter or Facebook using APIs. Okay. So every website has its own API. So if you, let's say you want to take data from Twitter, then you need to go to Twitter API. So API is the, you know what is API, right? I hope. It's basically a application programming interface. So you go to Twitter and basically you register yourself on dev.twitter.com and create an API of your own. And using that API, basically you can get data into R. So same goes with Facebook. So in Facebook also there is an API available. Using that API, you can download the data from Facebook into R. So on this blog you will also find one analysis that we have done based on Facebook. So that entry is there somewhere. You will have to search over here. But you will find that using Facebook also you can do the same thing. So you can download data from Facebook, you can download data from Twitter, you can download data from any website you want and do lots of analysis. Fine. So as I said that R is quite extensive and R is quite vast. This is just a glimpse of what I showed you, basically what you can do. There are lots and lots of things you can do and there are lots of things you can explore that can be done in R. So if you just Google basically, you Google something in R and you want to, let's say, learn something in R, you just Google about it. Let's say you want to say graphs in R. So just Google in it and you will see what kind of graphs you can plot in R. Everything will come up there. So you just need to basically Google it and thousands of things will come up. Right? So Surinder, you thought that you train machine for machine learning. Yes, you train the machine. But what is a machine? Machine at the end of the day is something that does the job for you. So machine is nothing but your computer itself. You train a model. So that model is trained on your machine and that's why it's called machine learning. Okay. So Vivek is asking, can we get this PPT to our email? I think yes, you will be getting this PPT. You can ask for this PPT to support staff at Edureka. You can mail them and say you need the PPT. Their ID is support@edureka.co. Okay. So you can mail them and they'll send you the PPT. So I've sent you that ID. Fine. I hope you got a basic understanding of R and like what R does and how R works and what all you can do. This is like just a drop in the ocean what I showed you. There are lots of things you can do in R apart from this. But since we are limited to time, I can't show you each and everything that you can do in R. So you can now ask your questions. We have 10 minutes open for questions only. So whatever questions you have, I'll answer them now. Okay, Devendra has asked a question. What comes out as a deliverable in the R project? Is it a model and exports? So the deliverable in a R project depends on the technology you are integrating it with. So I will give an example of the project that I did. I did it in HANA. So the end deliverable was a procedure in R, a code written in R that was basically executed in the backend and used to give us the output in form of an Excel file that used to give us the predicted model outcome. So it can be an Excel file, it can be a graph, the outcome can be a model also, it can be anything. It depends on your project and the context. So the deliverable of a R project is totally based on your requirement, like what exactly do you want out from the R project. Okay, so any example of Hadoop plus R? Punit is asking. There are examples of Hadoop plus R, yes, available, but currently I don't have on this particular machine because for that I require to access the Hadoop server, and I don't have it on this machine, so I won't be able to show you that example right now. But there are examples available over the net also. If you want, you can look over the internet, or maybe you can ask the support staff and I can mail you that example if you require that. Okay, just conceptual example I need to know. Okay, so I will give you an example. Let's say I've got data that has got lots and lots of rows and lots of columns. Okay, a typical example is the challenge over here in Kaggle. I'll just show you the challenge which is open right now. So on Kaggle there is a challenge that is there, okay, which I participated recently, but could not give enough time to it. So this is the challenge, display advertising challenge. Okay, in this challenge, if you look at the data has got more than 14 million rows. Okay, if you go to this data in this particular challenge, so if you look at the file, this is like 470 MB, the data. And if you look at the train data, it's like 3.51 GB. It's like billions of rows in this particular file. So let's say I want to use this file in R. If I load this file in R, my entire memory will be allocated to this particular task, and still the whole data won't be loaded in R. So in this case, what do? I do map reduce. First of all, I try to do map reduce on this particular data and then try to load this into R. So how map reduce will help me? Map reduce will basically give me the patterns that I need to load and basically leave out the patterns that I don't want, right? So in this case, I can make a use of Hadoop and R, both of them together, to finally achieve my outcome, right? So that is one example of it. Then someone asked how R varies from SPSS. So I'll show you an infograph about that. So that is a good question. I was hoping someone will ask, and someone did ask. So if you look at this infograph, this shows a comparison between SAS, R and SPSS. This is, I'll zoom this one. Okay, so this particular thing shows you what the comparison between R, SAS and SPSS, how three of them differ. Now if you look here, the SAS current version is 9.4, which is available. R, the current version is 3.10, and SPSS is this one. Now they have shown you brief history of this thing. Then purpose and usability. So if you look here, SAS is a strong leading in positioning commercial and analytics space. But again, SAS is like, it has got strong data handling capabilities, but it is a expensive solution. But R has got advanced graphical capabilities. Look here. And R has been used in for quite long time in research and academics, very very frequently also. And that's why it's finding its way into commercial use today. SPSS, if you ask me, it's a great tool for non-statistician only, right? But it is a hefty price tag again. It you cannot get it free. And SPS has an application in many fields, but mainly those are related in social science. And if you want to do it in, let's say, in banking, insurance, you won't find much use for SPSS, right? And here are some of the clients where R is being used. As I told you, Facebook uses R a lot, Google uses, FDA uses it, New York Times uses it. These are some of the clients of SPSS. Again, SPSS, if you ask me, it is far by the easiest to learn. Even they agree it's easiest to learn. And R is quite difficult to learn. Why? Because it's an interactive based language. And also SAS is not that difficult to learn, it's quite easy to learn. But again, in R, as I told you, there are lots of high quality tutorials available nowadays, which you can always refer to. Okay. Now this is a comparison of marketability. SAS, as far as it goes, it's the most marketable product, yes. But R has come to number 2 position compared to SPSS right now. Right. So R has already overtaken SPSS, and very soon it will overtake SAS also in terms of marketability. And popularity, if you see this is what I told you about. 50% of Kaggle users use R. Today, if you go to Stack Overflow, the number of R-related posts on Stack Overflow is more than 7-fold the number of posts on SAS. And this was a survey that people did. What programming statistics language you use for your analytics and data mining and data science work in 2013. This was asked to all the students all over the world. And if you look here, R leads SAS by a great margin. Look here. Right. So this is the way popularity of R has been increasing over the year. Does that answer your question? How it's different from SPSS and SAS and all that? So this is a brief comparison of that. Fine. Do you have any other questions now? So, Scintillate asked, does R integrate with Scoop and Flume? It might be integrating. I'm not too sure because I'm not used Scoop and Flume, so I won't be able to answer that question. So there must be integration available, but I have not used it. If it is available. Then Devendra has asked, in server client model, I cannot process maybe more than 64 GB data via RStudio. No, that's not true. You can process more than 64 GB data via RStudio if your server is capable of handling more than 64 GB. So your server needs to be a blade server essentially, needs to be more than 128 GB, and it should be basically more than 64 GB, sorry, and should be able to have that much of processing power. It needs to be quad core processor, or it needs to be P6 or whatever processor it needs to be. It needs to have that power. So most of the R servers, they are built on not on Pentium Intel processors. Basically, they are built on different kinds of processors available from different companies. Then Sudhir has asked question, would you be teaching Shiny? Yes, R Shiny is part of this particular course. Yes, we are teaching Shiny in this particular course. Then Puneet is asking, if I want to make career in big data, should I learn R plus stats or anything as well? I would say you start with R plus stats and slowly learn big data technologies, also something in the line of Hadoop, something in the line of Cassandra. Those things will help you get ahead of the others. Today what is happening, this is my perspective, okay, from what I have seen in the job market and from the interviews I have taken. People in the big data domain, there are a lot of people today already available who know Hadoop, who know Pig, who know Hive, who know MapReduce and all this stuff, okay. But the number of people that are available who know R is very, very less. And one of the reason why number of people available, people with R knowledge is very less, the reason behind that is that R, first of all, is quite difficult to learn on your own, okay. It is a bit, it is a programming based language. While your Hadoop and everything, it's more of a GUI based thing, right? And that's why you find very less people who have got very good R knowledge. And what happens is that people, when they start learning R, they give up very easily. Never do that. Although R is a little difficult to start with, you should never give up. You keep on practicing. I'm guaranteeing you that one day you will become master of R. It's such a kind of language that once you give enough time to it, do enough practice, you can master it. Okay, and you can write any programming now. So never give up if you start learning R. I'm not saying even if you learn R from Edureka or somewhere else, if you start learning R, don't give up. Initially you will find it difficult. In my college days also, I found it difficult to learn R. Why? Because it was like at that time not so much help was also available, but still I did not give up and I went ahead with it, with whatever help was available. And today, like I know each and most of the things in R. There might be some packages which I am not aware of in R. Yes, true, because it's very huge. But almost, if you ask me, 80 to 85% that is there in R today, I know about it, right? So I can go on any project that requires R and I can help them integrate. I can do anything. So today I do that kind of work. Like any project that requires a data science thing, I go and help them integrate R with any technology they want. So that's why I'm saying don't give up. R, initially when you start with R, you'll find difficult. Current batch also that I'm taking, the first 2 lectures, the student found it difficult to understand what R is and why, because the syntax of R is different. But slowly they getting into the mode, they started learning it, they started enjoying it. Basically, when they started doing their assignment, when they started doing their daily practices, they started enjoying it. So it's that kind of a language. Basically, start enjoying it slowly. Okay. Vivek is asking, will it be a bit easy to understand if one knows SAS? Conceptually, yes, but syntax is different from SAS. So SAS uses base SAS, while R has its own syntax. So syntax are different, concepts will remain the same, yes. Then Surinder is asking, if we have 2 GB data, how can we process it with Hadoop and R? So you have 2 GB data, then first you will have to go to Hadoop, basically use the MapReduce thing, fine, in Hadoop, then remove whatever columns are not required. Then you need to basically have a R server that will help you process this 250 GB data. You can't do it on your own machine. Fine. I hope you got a basic understanding, at least what R is about, and you can, I hope it will help you at least get started, right? Fine. So you can basically, I showed you how to download R, you can download R and you can basically get started and you can start working on it. So how is R different from Perl scripting? Senthil, to answer your question, so I won't be able to say how R is different from Perl scripting. The only languages that I have worked on is one is R, which is I've worked for around 10 years. Other language that I know is ABAP, and other language that I know is C. So these are the only languages that I know. So if you ask me comparing R with another language, I won't be able to compare it. Fine. So hopefully you got a basic overview and your expectations are met. So I would say get started with it and see which course you find appropriate and you want to enroll in Edureka course. You are always welcome. And it's a 6-week course and you'll get all the basic ideas of how to get started with R. You have assignments and you have everything. So it's up to you now how you want to go ahead. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and in your endeavor to learn R. I hope that one day you also become a good master of R. Right? And Kalpana is asking, you want the recording of this class, you can send a mail to support@edureka and I think they will send you the recording. Okay? Fine. So all the best to you all and hope that I'll see some of you all in the next batch of R that we are starting. Fine? Thanks.